As children, we learn the true meaning of being a hero. Being a hero requires great sacrifice for others, not just ourselves. We learn about the heroes of Jamaica's past and how much of themselves and their lives they had to give in building a nation we should be proud to call home. They believed in a Jamaica that was more than just a country, more than just an island, more than land surrounded by water. They believed in a dream of a free nation of people, a nation built on the foundation of their sacrifices, a nation of many people working as one, a nation that would continue to produce legends and nation builders that serve towards that vision. As children, we were also taught the national pledge, a solemn promise, an undertaking. I would like to believe Sir Hugh Sherlock, while writing this pledge, understood the vision and dreams of our heroes. It's clear being a hero is too much to ever ask any one citizen. Luckily, the pledge does not require heroics of any of us. It merely asks that we honor our heroes by striving to advance our nation and ultimately inspire the world, like they and many Jamaicans have done. It's important we remember those words. These words. Before God and all mankind, I pledge the love and loyalty of my heart, the wisdom and courage of my mind, the strength and vigor of my body in service of my fellow citizens. I promise to stand up for justice, brotherhood, and peace, to work diligently and creatively, to think generously and honestly, so that Jamaica may, under God, increase in beauty, fellowship, and prosperity, and play her part in advancing the welfare of the whole human race. If you are like me, a Jamaican born and raised on this land, maybe you will remember saying those words, singing that song in a classroom or some general assembly. If so, like me, you made a pledge. Somehow it seems like many of us have forgotten that. The crime and violence, the indiscipline and short-sightedness, the corruption, the lack of respect for our beautiful lands we are blessed with, and the waters that surround and nurtures us. We have to do better. Let us honor our heroes so that they would not have sacrificed so much in vain. I hope this video can make a difference to even one soul. If so, it would all be worth it. If you feel the way I do, share it. May my voice become yours. Thanks for watching.
Unity is strength. Make we reason. Make we talk. If we see corruption in any shape or form, we're going to highlight it. Make we talk. Jeffrey Tavares represents Yard and Broad.
Good night, everyone. Good night, good night. Good evening. Good evening, Jamaica. Good evening, the diaspora. And welcome to another powerful edition of the Make We Talk program. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tavares, coming to you live from South Florida, where we speak truth to power, holding leaders accountable, and standing up for the Jamaican people. Tonight, we're going to dig deep into a critical issue facing the government and our country. Parliament secretaries, are they overriding the ministers of government? Who really has the power? To help us unpack this tonight, we're joined by a man who never mince word, Senator Lambert Brown, trade unionist. Senator Brown, welcome to the program, sir.
Hi, Jeffrey. Good night to you and your listeners.
Good night. Thank you very much. Yes, sir. I want to say good evening to all those who are watching us in the Cayman Islands, courtesy of Cayman Mall Road. Welcome to the Make We Talk program. Senator Brown, talk to us tonight about the permanent secretaries. Who is really in charge? Is it the minister, the permanent secretary?
Well, essentially, on Friday in the Senate, the government moved a motion to suspend what is called the fiscal rules because of the impact of Hurricane Melissa and the need to be able to spend some more money than they would have been able to spend prior to Melissa. Because the Parliament has established what is called fiscal framework, fiscal rules, which essentially says you can't spend more than X amount and you have to save a bigger portion called the primary surplus to pay down the debt so that the debt can come back down to 60% of GDP.
Yes.
So they had to suspend the fiscal rules, something that we passed in 2014 when Mark Golden was in the Senate and I was a member of the government Senate team at that time. So they had to amend that for the second time, they amended for COVID. But in that amendment, I said to them, let us not just amend the fiscal rules. Let us also amend the partisan distribution of hurricane relief. And in that context, I pointed out a case where a parliamentary secretary, namely Marlon Morgan, had traveled from Kingston down to Hanover, along with the Minister of State in the Ministry of Labor, Donovan Williams, and with staff from the Office of the Parliamentary Secretary. And in the video I saw, the Parliamentary Secretary, which is lower than the Minister of State, was dominating and overriding the Minister of State, who remained silent. And it goes to the pompous nature of Senator Marlon Morgan, who thinks that he must be heard and that whatever he has to say is important. But it strikes at the heart of governance. In governance, the minister can't overspeak the prime minister. The minister of state can't overspeak the minister. And similarly, the parliamentary secretary should not overspeak and override the minister of state. But the most important part of that is the continued partisan distribution of relief by this government. In other words, they are sending their ministers out into places where the People's National Party, the opposition, has the MP, like in Western Hanover, where that parliamentary sector went along with the Minister of State and people from the office of the Prime Minister. But the PNP MP, Ella Miller,
Yes.
was nowhere to be seen. She wasn't invited. And there have been complaints from other PNP MPs that the JLP are sending in people in their constituency, working with the JLP caretakers, undermining the elected representative of the people. And so I called for the suspension of the partisanship as we suspended the fiscal rules. And I pointed out that case of Marlon Morgan, parliamentary secretary, even stepping over Donovan Williams, Minister of State in the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, to be distributing food packages in a constituency represented by an MP from the opposition, but the opposition MP was never invited to dole out government packages. These are not personal packages of the minister or the parliament secretary. Mm-hmm. So it is in that context I'm saying it's chaka in the first place for the parliamentary secretary to be head and shoulder over the Minister of State. But that's the nature of the JLP. They don't care about protocol. They don't care about fairness. They're seeking to use this hurricane relief like vultures. Mm-hmm. And throwing aside national approach for a partisan approach.
Senator Brown, my question to you, though, Senator Brown, is this: if why is it that at this point in time, in this hurricane relief effort, as an opposition senator, how is it that the government itself refused to bring on the opposition to come on to help in distributing the care packages and so forth? Heather Miller wasn't there. Heather Miller is a well-known Hanoverian. Her parents are from Hanover. She's well-known. She's a member of parliament for that area. Do you know why they didn't invite her, sir?
Because, well, listen to the Prime Minister speaking the other day. He says, my country. Not our country, no. My country. So he owns the country. And he believes that his party is the only party that should be doing anything that relates to government. So you would see, for example, the principle of two heads better than one showing up last week in the parliament when Favour Williams brought the fiscal rules suspension order with a big mistake that would have damaged the country. But the wise head of Mark Jefferson Golden intervened to say, Minister, you are making a mistake. You don't really understand the law. So what that is showing, Jeffrey, and your audience, is that with the opposition cooperating, Jamaica would be better protected. Jamaica would come back out of this hurricane disaster stronger when we work together as a team. Mm-hmm. Sadly, the government is of the view that only they should do it, only the JLP should do it. So they go into constituency and you hear them saying, oh, the minister was working with the JLP councillor, but they don't work with the PNP MPs because they believe that this hurricane to them should be used to strengthen their party and to undermine the opposition. And that's what is happening. And that is why people find it difficult to contribute to the hurricane relief, because rather than Jamaica benefiting, it is the JLP who is seeking to benefit. They are not even distributing the goods to the people. The private sector, bloggers, are doing a better job of reaching the people than the government is. And that is what is so sad about Andrew Holness and his government approach to hurricane relief. And that's why I called on Friday to suspend not only the fiscal rules which we agree with them on, but suspend the partisan approach to this thing.
Senator Brown, but my question to you though, Senator Brown, a lot of Jamaicans don't understand the meaning of a permanent secretary. Let's go back to there for a bit. Can you explain to the Jamaican people, those in Jamaica and the Jamaicans in the diaspora around the world and the Eastern Caribbean, what is the role of a permanent secretary?
Well, the permanent secretary has a different role. Permanent secretary plays an administrative role. But my comment in the Senate was not about the permanent secretary. Permanent secretary is the head of the administration in each ministry. And ministers may come and go, but the permanent, it should be there. So if a JP, if a PNP government comes tomorrow, there's continuity with the permanent secretary. The permanent secretary shouldn't be playing politics, shouldn't be involved in politics. In the case in which I was referring to in Hanover, it was not a permanent secretary, it was a parliamentary secretary, which is a junior minister. So that's what I was addressing. But the permanent secretaries are the ones who are the chief accounting officers. They should control things. But truthfully, when you look in the PAAC, Public Accounts and Administration Committee in Parliament, which meets on a Wednesday, sometimes the permanent, you want them, some of the permanent secretaries are politicians.
So, Senator Brown, so you're saying to me a parliament secretary, of course, is different from a permanent secretary. Talk to us about the parliament secretary.
Jeffrey?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd say, so I'm saying my comment on Friday was about the parliamentary secretary, not the permanent secretary. Who is a special person in the Senate who just chat his mouth too much, who tried to rewrite history as he did on Friday about what he accused the people. Yeah.
I want to play a video of you, Senator Brown, in the Senate speaking about this, sir. Listen to this.
What they don't need is a parliamentary secretary going to Hanover along with a minister of state and the parliamentary secretary overriding and overshooting the minister of state. While the MP for the area is left out. And that is why I again call for the suspension along with the fiscal rules of the partisan approach of this government.
1 minute, Senator Brown.
Okay.
So, is it done?
No, it's much better now, yes. Senator Brown.
Let's try to charge my phone, yes.
Yeah. Senator Brown, so you're saying to us that what happened in the parliament on Friday, was it on Friday?
Yes, the Senate met on Friday.
Yes. What happened in the parliament on Friday is basically you're commenting on what Senator Marlon Morgan did.
Correct. And something that he does all the time, like even on Friday, I was saying, why are you treating Minister Albany like he's your yard boy? The way you are addressing him. So I shouted that across the floor on Friday. Morgan wishes to promote himself way beyond his capacity, way beyond his knowledge. is just bombastic and have very little purpose in the Senate, in my view. But that apart from that, the bigger issue is Jamaica faced a Category 5 hurricane. It has devastated sections of the country. Today, I went down to the bauxite plant in St. Anne to do some union work.
Yes, sir.
People down there still don't have light in many areas. Workers still don't have light. The company, to their credit, have provided them with some relief things. Some of the problems they have with custom and getting in things for the workers and the communities. In fact, one of the delegates said to me today that the company, Discovery Bauxite, was doing more for the communities in St. Anne, especially up in the hills of southwest St. Anne, than the government is doing. For example, the plant up in the mines, the mining facility, is still without electricity. And I had to make a call today to somebody to say, this is an important economic activity. If we need to recover, we need to make sure we can earn foreign exchange from the backside. Please assist in getting the light back, not just for the workplace, but for the communities from which workers have to come, because workers have to leave in the dark and go back home in the dark, and it's dangerous in a place like Jamaica. So, go ahead, Jeffrey.
Senator Brown, isn't this a shame, Senator Brown, that the hurricane has passed over 2-3 weeks now, nearly a month, and you're saying to me, Senator Brown, that I entity like the backside company don't have any light. And not only that, Senator Brown, I got a call this morning on my way coming into South Florida. I was on the highway and I got the call from a well-known individual in the Cayman Islands. And she said to me, how is it that there are so many things happening in Jamaica where the government is getting so many aid, but the people themselves not getting it? There are many Jamaicans, Senator Brown, who are out there in the element tonight, sir, who has no water, no roof over their head, no light, nothing. How is it that the Prime Minister, who has the power, cannot commandeer a hotel or evacuate those who don't have anywhere to live to the National Stadium and the National Indoor Sports Center? Why are we treating our people this way, Senator Brown?
Well, let me just make one clarification and then answer why are they treating our people this way. In terms of the bauxite company, the plant down in Discovery Bay has its own powerhouse, so it generates its own electricity. So the drying facility down in Discovery Bay has electricity that is generated from its own powerhouse. But in the mines up in the hills, in Tubalski, Water Valley, St. Baker's areas, up in southwest St. Anne, there's no electricity connected to the mining operations. And so that's what I'm calling for them to do, to restore it, because unless the mining operation is able to function smoothly with electricity, because they don't self-generate electricity in the mines, then the bauxite can leave the country to go abroad to earn the foreign exchange. And I must say that a minister who I spoke to today was very gracious enough to say he's going to seek to get some assistance to get the operations supplied with electricity. And I want to thank that minister. But why are they so callous? Remember 2 weeks ago in the Senate, I had to say to the government, people are sleeping in the night dew. They are without roof. They're homeless. But the Japanese government and the people of Japan donated 1,400 sleeping bags and 300 tents. But I had not seen anyone, not a single photograph of any of those sleeping beds or tent being deployed.
And not only that, Senator Brown. Not only that, Senator Brown. So we continue, sir.
No, but that's fine.
The government and the people of the Cayman Islands has given Jamaica generator and those things. We are not seeing that either, Senator Brown.
Why don't the Belgium government send 400 generators? And so I'm saying here that after I spoke in the Senate, I saw them start putting out pictures of some tents, but I still want to see the 300 tents. They need to account for the 300 tents. They need to account for the generators. In fact, Senator Keisha Anderson, in responding to Minister Arvin Hill on Friday, made the point that in over 1 month since hurricane, it's not nearly a month now, it's over 1 month. We've gone over 4 weeks, 5 weeks, into 6 weeks of hurricane. In that 6 times 7, 40 days since hurricane, the government was only accounting for 15 generators. And we were making the point that it was 1 generator for every 2 days. So for every 2 days since hurricane, they have only supplied 1 generator. And when you look down at a place called Border, between St. Elizabeth and Westmoreland, where they sell the fish, it is the entertainer Sean Paul and his foundation who have provided zinc and plywood to the vendors to set them, to bring themselves back up into business. But you know who is taking the credit for Sean Paul's work? The government.
I beg your pardon?
The government is saying, yes, they are trying to take the credit for the work that Sean Paul do. So, with a Shaggy, Vibes Cartel, Pucho Banton,
Spice,
Andre Stevens, Spice, the government is out there trying to claim credit for all that which private individuals, private sector have done. And the government still can't account to the people for all the things that they receive.
But Senator Brown, as you know, I must lift my hat to Andre Stefano Stevenson of the Partner Draw TV. And you know why I'm lifting my hat to that young man, Mr. Senator Brown? That young man got up and decided he's going to help his Jamaican people. Now tell me something now, Senator Brown, as we have to wrap up because it's at about 7:30 now, one of the guests coming on. But as we're going to wrap up, Senator Brown, tell me this now, sir. Why is the government dragging their foot in helping the people of this country? Why is it that the Prime Minister, after the aftermath of the hurricane, Senator Brown, why didn't the Prime Minister address the nation? Because the people need a comforting chief, not a man who's going to say, I don't care everybody.
Well, I guess he was more worried as to whether the court was going to rule against him today. But the point is, I don't think the Jamaica Labour Party cares too much about the people. In fact, it was so bad that yesterday they had a meeting of what they call their central executive. And the central executive is calling upon the state agencies to do better. You know who run the state agencies? The government is in charge. The government is in charge. So what the JP was saying is that the government wasn't doing a good job. The Jamaica Labour Party, central executive, essentially saying our government, their government, is not doing a good job. And so all the questions you have asked about the role of the government is summed up in their own people criticizing them. But I want to commend all those MPs and councillors, private individuals, and the Stevens and others who have been out there working to help. I want to commend the private sector people who have contributed to others like Andre, so that they may go out, as Andre said, gather, hunt and gather, and provide it to the people who desperately need the assistance. As I would say in the Senate, may it please you, Jeffrey. I'm happy to have contributed tonight to your program and to share my perspective.
Thank you very much, Senator Lambert Brown, trade unionist, and a man who don't mince word, a man who continues to stand up for the poor class of Jamaican. Senator Brown, thanks for coming on to the Make We Talk program, also on Cayman Mall Road in the Cayman Islands. Thanks for coming on, sir.
Yes, you. Thank you very much.
All right, Senator Lambert down there on the phone with us. He, out of his busy schedule, he came on. We're going to have pretty soon, hopefully she can come back on. We're going to have a member of the Jamaican diaspora, Michelle Tolonil, to speak to us about what the Jamaican diaspora is doing to assist the people of our country, Jamaica. It is a shame, you know. It is a burning shame that you have a government, and when they come out and speak these things, you know, they say they're telling lies. And when you invite those who to come on the program to speak to us, Senator Morgan, we have extended an invitation to you, sir. The election is over. Almost campaign, the election is over now. Come and speak to the people of what is going on. What are you people doing to assist the Jamaican people? Because what we're seeing over here is that every minute you look out is Andre Stevenson on the ground or an entertainer on the ground. Huh? You don't see anybody. When the election was in high gear, all 2 o'clock in the morning time, all they can hear Labour Party marching on, the Prime Minister up and down on the road. Where is the Prime Minister now? Why is it the Prime Minister don't go and walk in St. Elizabeth, go and walk in Westmoreland? It's not about politics, people. It's about the people of this country. I am not a member of any political party. I don't want to be a member of any political party. I am a Jamaican, and Jamaica comes first for me. It is full time. It is full time that we in this country put this country first and stop putting politics before this country. It's over a month now since this hurricane hit Jamaica, and our people are still out there in the element of the night, mosquito biting them. I came on this program and I said to them, Western Jamaica is looming for an outbreak. Good night, Make We Talk here live.
Hey, Jeffrey, long time to talk to you, man. What's going on?
You're looking and living.
Hey, you Senator Lambert Brown say, when you speak to 2 people, say you're lying. I know Lambert Brown over 40 odd years ago. Because the same backside company where him go today. I used to work here from 73. Because the powerhouse where him I talk about, me never worked at the powerhouse. And let me show you something say the JLP party wicked. You know that way me live? I live less than a mile from the powerhouse. You know? When I talk about the backside powerhouse, I talk about the government powerhouse, the plant. Because with the right of the border, Trelawney and Central, you know. And it's less than a mile from where me come from, you know.
Yes.
And you know, say, no water, no light, no up them, and the whole area in up here, that, you know. We can't go river every day if we want, you know. And we can't go sea every day if we want, you know. Because we live close both of them. And the same thing them do in a Gilbert, remember I was telling you. The same thing happened at Gilbert, you know. And the same thing them I do now, you know. You have 28 MPs for the PMP and you don't want to involve in it. And you use people who get voted out. Because they don't want they don't want no accountability.
You know something, caller?
Yeah.
It is a shame, you know, that we have to going down a road where we're using politics before the well-being of our citizens. The people who vote for you, you refuse to give them what they truly need. You refuse to lead the people. If the Prime Minister of this country, when the hurricane first hit, after the hurricane, he came and addressed the nation. What the people need is a comforting chief. Not a chief now come up and say, I'm afraid of nobody. The people need a Prime Minister, sir, who will go out there like how he out there when he was campaigning up and down through hills and valley, all the walk through Black River. For the people, go out there, because we need a government of the people, for the people, and by the people at this time. No lives.
When we guys, Mr. Man a campaign, and him going to St. Mary, and he take off all his shoes and he walk in the river. Me leave it flat. Yes, listen to me. Me be around a long time because me know Boston, watch it Norman man, the whole of them me know.
We're not going on the road tonight, but
Boston and Norman, told me I said to you. Yeah, but this is what I'm saying to you. It's the same tradition all the way up, brethren. You can't build a house without a foundation, you know. You cannot build a house without a foundation. Every house have to have a foundation. Without the foundation, the house can't build. You know, and at the same tradition, them accompany.
You know what is our fundamental problem in this country, sir? And I know a lot of people don't like when I talk.
Yeah.
You see, until we in this country, sir, put away the two political parties and think about this country, Jamaica, this piece of rock we call home. Put this piece of rock first before any political party and the politician. And I'm sorry, we're going to continue the same trend over and over again, because all I can hear, may I die hard this, I die hard that. We must think about this country. This country and the people of this country is in need of help.
Yeah, Jeffrey, that is true. But in any country going in the world,
I am not talking about any country in the world, sir. I am talking about
it's not going to change, man.
Jamaica.
Yeah, but you're not going to change.
Stop this PNP and JLP stupidness in this country.
So why did people not vote for sensible people then? You don't suffer for how many years and you still go back and vote for the same people who not help you?
We have been suffering from 1962 until now.
And that's true. Listen to me, when Michael Manley win the 70s, we got back to 1973.
You got back to Michael Manley again.
Yes, man, we talk about Michael, man. When Michael Manley win 1973,
I have a guess who
I make so much money that you, and it's something like that. We have to talk about the foundation. Yeah, you have to talk about the foundation. Is Michael Manley what they do for Jamaica people? The man built 40 years old.
I gotta run. I have a next person coming on.
All right, Jeffrey.
Thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah.
Okay. Good night, Michelle. Hello? Mr. O'Neill? Lord have mercy, I'm not hearing her. Mr. O'Neill? Michelle? Okay, we are trying to get a hold of Miss Michelle O'Neill, a member of the Jamaican diaspora, to come on the program here tonight to speak to us. I'm not seeing a blank screen there with her, to speak to us about how is the diaspora helping Jamaicans back home. That is my opinion, my good friend Conrad. Miss O'Neill, not getting her at all. We're standing by to join Michelle O'Neill to come on to the program here to speak to us. What is the Jamaican diaspora doing to assist Jamaicans back home? It is now 7:41. We're listening and watching us from around the world in the Eastern Caribbean. This is Make We Talk. We're simulcasting this evening on Cayman Mall Road in the Cayman Islands. I want to say good evening to those in the Cayman Islands. Good evening to all my family members in the Cayman Islands. Dr. Stephen Tony Tomlinson, Miss Eva, Kirk, Stephen, Dr. Ebanks. Good night to everyone over there in the Cayman Islands. That's my second home. Good evening to my good friend who used to work at, it's no longer Royal Bank of Canada. I think it's no longer, yeah, well, I don't think it's there anymore, but anyway. I want to say good evening to Annie Miles. She's no longer Miles, she's married now. I want to say good evening to everyone over there in the Cayman Islands who is watching us. This evening, we're speaking about, we just conclude our conversation with Senator Lambert Brown. We're going to speak to Michelle O'Neill of the Jamaican diaspora. Obviously, she's having some technical difficulties reaching us. She's on the road and she says she's stuck in traffic. She's going to try and come on. If she doesn't come on by 8 o'clock, we're going to join our other guest who's coming on with us. But for those who want to just call in and talk to us, the numbers are 954-529-8030. That's 954-529-8030. You can call in and speak to us and talk to us until our next guest comes on. 954-529-8030. 954-529-8030. 954-529-8030. That's the numbers to call into the program tonight. 954-529-8030. You can call into the program if you so desire as we stand by to join our other guests. I want to say good evening to none other than Mr. Conrad O'Brien, who's in the chat room with us. Good evening to you, Conrad. Well, if I don't mind who want to call me hypocrite, you know. I am entitled to my own opinion. I'm entitled to my opinion, so I don't care who want to call me hypocrite. What I'm saying, this has been going on for many years, and it's full time we stop this stupidness and look out for this country. Our people is down there in Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth in the element. And people are getting things. Where is the generator? It was donated by the Cayman Islands government to the Jamaican government for the people of Jamaica. Where are those generators? As what Senator Brown said, what happened to the sleeping beds and the tarpaulins? Huh? What happened to those? It's full time we in this country. It is full time we in this country be united as one. When people in the United States demonstrating, they're demonstrating as Republicans and Democrats. They're demonstrating as Americans. And all we can do in this country is speak about the two political parties. When are we going to stand up in this country and speak about Jamaica? Huh? When are we going to speak about this country? When are we going to put this country together and put our people first? And put this country first. This piece of rock is bleeding from within. And many people don't like when I talk because I must come out here and spread what they want me to spread. I'm not going to do that, you know. I'm not going to do that. I'm sorry. We must, at one point or the other in our lives, put this piece of rock first. And people must come together. Those who live in Kingston, who are affected by this hurricane, we must get up and speak out for those who can't speak for themselves in Sainsbury and Westmoreland and beyond. Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne. Miss P, good night to Miss P. You know how many people need help? Miss P need help. So many other Jamaicans have been calling me need help. And all we can talk about is PNP and JLP. When we're faced with fundamental problems in this country, we don't put PNP and JLP in front of it. We put ourselves. We must speak out. Many may say I talk nonsense because they're not the same. My opinion is my opinion. It's full-time we in this country. Full-time. Full-time. We in this country get up and speak for this piece of rock. And don't speak for the political parties. When are we going to speak for Jamaica? When are we going to put this piece of rock before all political parties? Would it be UIC, No C, Never Dare Move, or whatever they want to call it? If we don't put this piece of rock in front of everybody and put this piece of rock first, when the people of Sri Lanka was going through what they were going through, they never put the party that is in Sri Lanka first. They put Sri Lanka themselves first. But we can't put ourselves first. Because we ban counsel with mama, and we papa, and we mama, a PNP and JLP. So we are JLP and PNP. Well, I'm an independent thinker. A lot of people know the home that I grew up in. And I make my own decisions. The people went through a devastation. And we're putting politics before we put our people first. We're putting politics before we put our people first. When are we will be able to get up one day and put this piece of rock that we claim we love? Good night, Miss Winnie. Welcome to the program. You're live.
Hello, sir. How are you?
I am very good, Miss Winnie. How are you doing? Good night to Walk in the Divine Purpose. Welcome to the program.
And anyway, what I'm talking about, when Melissa hits her, I think that the government should have rolled out straight away. Nothing happened. And like Andre Stevens, Colors, everyone come together to help the people. Now the Prime Minister was saying he don't want that. He shouldn't be showing people begging, getting like they're begging for food. But he hasn't done anything.
But listen to me, Miss Winnie. The Prime Minister go sit down. If you go sit down, he should be ashamed of himself to come out and speak about that.
Well, I'm telling you, I see Andre Stephen. Listen to me. Andre was going to drop down because he wants to feed the people and the diaspora and everyone that's sending to help.
But I'm telling you something. I can tell you something here this evening. The Prime Minister cannot stop Andre Stevenson or anybody from going down there to spend their own money to carry things go down there.
But the diaspora
this country is not run by a dictator. The last time
Yes,
I
it
see modern
does.
democracy. Miss Pierre, next call coming in. Thank you for calling in, Miss Winnie.
Okay, thank you, sir. Yeah, thank you.
Lord, the person hung up. The number to call is 954-529-8030. The last time I checked, this country was a modern democracy. So for those who believe, I see we're in a good friend of mine saying that Jamaica is becoming a banana republic. Well-known person, older than me. He is on a radio station, I think he's in New York. I saw an article with him where he's saying that this country is becoming a banana republic. Many of us will not go so far to say it. And many of us will go so far to say it. But if many of us believe it's becoming a banana republic, and so do I. It is now 7:52. We're going to join by our next guest pretty soon, who's coming on to speak to us about what is going on in the courts of Jamaica today. We do not want to believe, we do not want to be distributing things. And all because we're distributing things, we're distributing because we're a member of a political party. We must do it because we're Jamaicans. And the Prime Minister cannot tell anybody what to do when they're doing things. If the PM, they get up, load up in Prado, the government Prado, cannot film it, a taxpayer Prado, load it up and go down there. Get the opposition leader with him in the beginning. Fly around in the helicopters. Then they go down on the ground. Get the opposition leader with him. Load up trucks and all kind of shibangarang. And go down and feed our people. Then we would say, yes, he's doing something. But is he truly doing something? Is he truly doing something? We sit in this country and we allow them to do what they feel like they must do. And we mustn't say anything about it. Because Jamaica is governed by a Xi Jinping or a Xi Jinping and a Vladimir Putin. Good night, Marshy. How you doing?
I'm there, no man. How you doing?
Good day, my friend. Live on air.
Bye. I tell you, Mr. Jamaica now, anything the Jamaica Labour Party want, they don't can't do it and get to it. That's what I reach right now. I'm afraid. Right now, not because certain decisions not go my way, but I start to get afraid of the judiciary. Start to get afraid. Certain things now, I can't manage it. Can't believe in it. I can't believe. I only if I think I can't believe, Just can't. Let me tell you, some things that we keep watching for a while. A man get dead in a man house, no 4th century, no nothing. And just because that man is a friend of the Prime Minister, case just dead.
You know, Marshy, when I said to some people who call me privately and say, Jeffrey, what do you think about the case with Paul and the Prime Minister, with Mr. Buckhannon and the Prime Minister? I said to them, saying, I don't believe anything gonna come out of it, And they say, I must stop saying it. Me one of them want to bring down the country. I do not believe in Jamaica's judicial system. I don't have no trust for it. I don't trust it.
Maybe I give it a chance, but today I finally give up. And we've been watching things before we come down to this. I'll tell you about the one that died in the man house, and because that man is a friend of the Prime Minister and lawyer, case just disappeared. The Prime Minister go in the House of Parliament and tell the people how clansmen selling land over in Bernard Lodge. And the land, when we end up, find out who is a member of his constituency, one of him worker. That's the woman who was selling the land. She been arrested, case dead. After that, nothing more. No investigation, nothing more. Case just disappear. You tell me, what more we want? And when you look at this decision today, Lord of His mercy, it, me give up. Me not tell no lie. Me give up.
Marsh, at your age, at your age, Shamash, at your age, you could be my dad or my grandfather, I don't know. But anyway, at your age, where do you see your country going?
Well, me don't know if it going anymore, you know, me think it reach. Me think it reach.
Can you
I hit this.
2 minutes? I have to take this call. This person been calling me. In 2 minutes, please.
All right.
Good night, caller. Welcome to the program. You're live.
Yes, I had called you earlier on.
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Gisela, and I'm a healthcare worker. But these people have no empathy. I feel so sad to see some of these elderly people, and I can't even get to assist them because I just did a surgery recently. My voice is not even back, so I have to keep going to the doctor.
Yes.
I feel so sad.
Are you a nurse or just what sort of healthcare provided? What sort of healthcare do you provide?
I elderly care in the hospital, nursing homes, and I'm a Jamaican, and I worked in psychology for 3 years in Connecticut, but I'm now in Michigan, and my heart goes out to those people. I feel so sad. And I used to be a jail labor right back in the 80s. What I'm telling you, this government is the worst I've ever seen. My God, I can't believe that the people are suffering like this in this time. Oh my goodness. I feel so bad. I don't know what is wrong. It's only a divine intervention can make these people change. Divine intervention can get rid of him. He's awful. They're all selfish and self-centered and don't even have no empathy. Nothing. Oh my God, why are these people still in power? I can't believe. I'm from Port Royal. I know we're safe over there. Nothing much damage, but I feel so bad for the people on the other side of town. I still have to go through a lot of stuff. And I have a lot of medical issues since I did the surgery. So I'm not even, I had to walk with assistance, and then I got better. But I have a lot of problems swallowing. I have aspiration precautions too.
You gotta be careful because you can't speak long either.
No, my voice is not even back. I did August surgery, and my voice is still not back. I just can't do that. But I feel so bad for them. I pray for them every time. I pray that God will help these people. Oh God, have mercy. Mm. Oh my God.
We just have to just pray and ask God to help us. And I pray and hope that you get back your voice and you recover, all right?
Yeah, I wish I was in better health. I can't do anything for anybody right now.
I know. But you just have prayer go a long way to you, man. Prayer go a long way. You can't do anything but prayer go a long way, all right?
Okay. All right. God bless you.
God bless you too for calling in.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Wow. We're standing by to join our next guest. It is now 8 o'clock, a minute after 8 o'clock, right here in the Make We Talk program. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tavares. We're simulcasting with Cayman Mall Road in the Cayman Islands. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to the Make We Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel as we come to you this evening our current affair program. Marshy, welcome. Go ahead, my friend.
Yeah, Jeffrey.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
You know, divers love to talk about bad mind. You tell me this one now. Them have a man in prison, lost in the system for many, many years. I don't remember how much years. And the court see it fit to award the man, I think it's $120 million. There's a parasite in the parliament.
A what?
So them say my justice, one parasite. Say my justice minister.
Oh Lord.
You tell me, say, him a go challenge it.
Well, hold on to me. What you're saying that the justice minister is going to challenge a man who lost in the system?
Okay. Me not hear the news myself on the radio, but reputable person will follow the news say it. And it not disputed. I can't say who said it. I heard it on Andre Stevens' program. And Andre not telling a lie. So Andre may talk about it last night. And that is good enough.
Well,
and then take our justice minister.
Let me say something here. I've been asking this question on this program for many years. Jamaica has a director of public, well, a former director of public prosecution who
prosecute who she feel like.
Who admit to a well-known radio station that she has dealt with tainted jurors before, but she was part of the Vibe Cartel case. And the question I asked then, and I'm asking the question now, as my guest is in the chat in the room there waiting on me. I want to ask the question now. Have they investigated how many other Jamaicans are languishing in our prisons in this country? Marsha, I gotta run because
all right, yeah, man, we'll take it easy. Take it easy, Jeffrey. Good.
I have with me none other than attorney at law, Lady Stacy Knight. Welcome to the program, Miss Knight. Unmute your mic for me.
Hi, Jeffrey. Good evening. Good evening to your listeners. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you so much. You know, I at least we're going to talk about politics tonight. We're going to talk about the law tonight.
Yes.
Well, we're live in the Cayman Islands and Cayman Mall Road television over there in the Cayman Islands.
Okay. Hi, Cayman. Hi to everybody in Cayman, including I have some clients there. I won't call their names on live, but good evening to my clients in Cayman.
Thank you very much. Yes. Counsel, the case between Mr. Buckhannon and the Prime Minister. Talk to us about it. A decision was made today. A lot of Jamaicans are saying they don't trust the justice system anymore, Counsel.
Yeah, I won't go so far as to say that I don't trust the justice system. I'm disappointed in the decision. I was a part of the team that worked on behalf of Paul Buckhannon, who was the applicant in the matter, and the decision is adverse to the applicant. It's not in his favor, so I'm disappointed in it. But as an officer of the court myself, we know as lawyers that it can go one way or another. And that is why decisions sometimes have to go through several levels before you get a final decision. And at this stage, which was an application for what we call judicial review that was denied, it's not the end of the road. And so if the client, Paul Buckhannon, the candidate, wants to go further, there is scope to appeal the decision. And so a higher court may make a different decision than this court. the fact that a higher court or a court of appeal makes a different decision does mean that the previous decision may have been wrong in law, but does not mean that the justice system is not working, because the system provides for appeal. So I want to hold on to that. I can't knock the justice system and say that it is wholesale, ineffective or not working.
So Senator, Attorney, Counsel.
Okay.
Let me ask this question though.
Yeah.
When you're presenting this case to the court, at the same time, did you have in the back of your head that maybe it won't go your way? So you're gonna give an appeal at the same time?
I always have that in the back of my head. I mean, I was not lead counsel in this matter. I'm involved in the matter, but lead counsel was Hugh Wildman.
Yeah.
And, after the submissions, and his submissions were brilliant, were strident and bold and brilliant. I think that was the date of that was it November 14th or 18th that we were before the court. At the end of the hearing, I did ask, I always play devil's advocate. If the judge was to make a decision adverse to us, what would be what reasoning you think she could possibly use? Because there's always a possibility in law. It's adversarial. One side gonna win and one side gonna lose. So I did question what could be, and would it be something that we could we find grounds of appeal?
But counsel, wasn't this a case like this in 1998? Blake versus Holness? Are you aware of that case?
I'm aware of that case. It's similar. It's similar. But listen, there are never two cases alike, ever. No two, no matter how simple it is. At something as simple as a divorce. Some people think, oh, it's same as the other one because they also had two children and one house. No. No two cases are exactly alike. There's always some distinguishing features. Now, I'm not here to defend the court's decision because it is adverse to my client. I'm just saying that it's never a fait accompli. That's why we have to wait on the court's decision. You know what I'm saying? If we knew that we must win, then why were we waiting on the court to write its decision? And I must say, this decision is some 43 pages, 45, sorry, 40. Well, it ends on page 46. I just got the decision this afternoon. I was in court in another matter, so I have not digested all of it. But I have read the salient points, and I though I disagree with it, I see what the judge was trying to say.
Can you talk to us about the decision the judge came on with?
All right. So in the 46 pages of the decision, I have it before me here.
Yes. Go ahead.
The judge, all right, can I back up a little bit before I say what the decision is, to give a little background to the listeners of what the judge was being called upon to decide in the first place. So at the end of an election, we know one candidate is successful and one is unsuccessful. And the law provides, under the Representation of People Act in Jamaica, two routes by which a unsuccessful applicant, two routes by which an election may be voided by the constituted authority. One is that an unsuccessful applicant can apply to the constituted authority for that authority to refer the matter to the election court, or even in the absence of the candidate saying anything at all, the constituted authority could take it upon itself to say, we don't like how this looks. We're going to refer it to the election court. In this instance, the constituted authority did not exercise that power on its own. And so Mr. Paul Buckhannon, in his right, within 14 days of the election, he did apply to the constituted authority and say, hey, send this matter to the election court because there were these irregularities. The constituted authority then has to make its own decision whether it's going to refer it to the election court. It has, I think it was 14 days also to do that, and it did that within 14 days. And it said, no, we're not sending your matter to the election court.
Yes.
That happened by the end of October. What Mr. Buckhannon then did, which is the next step, I'm showing you how the judicial system is not just one decision. The constituted authority was against us, but that's not the end of the road. We can now, what we did now was make an application to the Supreme Court for the Supreme Court to review the decision of the constituted authority. Similar to an appeal, but it's not quite an appeal. A judicial review is an administrative law function of the court, where the court looks at a decision of some body, which body is not a court itself, but like any statutory body. The constituted authority being a statutory body, like the FLA could be reviewed, or the IDT, or any such body. In this instance, we asked the court for permission. The court uses the word leave. Ask the court for leave to file an application to judicially review the decision of the constituted authority. The court said no. That's what was handed down today. The court said no. We are not going to quash the decision of the constituted authority, and we're not going to force the or compel, use a more legal term, we're not going to compel the constituted authority to refer the matter to the election court. Yeah, that's what the court said today, that they're not going to compel the constituted authority. Now,
so hold on for Ms.
Go ahead.
So that means that they can't overturn the election, because the court says they won't grant that at all.
Well, we don't reach the overturning of the election yet, because if the matter went before the election court, then that court would actually hear evidence, testimony from witnesses. Thus far, no witnesses have gone before any body, because the constituted authority did not hear from the witnesses in person. Neither did this judicial review court hear from the witnesses in person. So we have gone 2 stages already, and the witnesses have not been called upon to swear, to tell the truth, and to speak about what they saw, election irregularities, one person voting twice.
But could you say why they haven't done that? Why they haven't called in the witnesses?
So, all right, they don't, because they're not required to. They're not required to. It's the election court that would be required to hear from the witnesses. And so far, the matter has not gone to the election court, because the candidate, the unsuccessful candidate, cannot just go to the election court and say, hey, I want you to hear me. You cannot file an application before the election court directly. The application must go through the constituted authority. That's the gate that you need to pass through first, the constituted authority. And the constituted authority said, no, we don't think that this matter rises to the level of needing to go before the election court. Yeah, we challenged that by judicial review, and that decision by the Supreme Court, the judicial review court, today said, we're not going to compel the constituted authority to open their gate and let you through into the election court. The decision, the reasons for that, I tell you, is in 46 pages. So it's not something I can just say.
Yes, I understand. Because when you send it to me, I couldn't even go through it, because, when you send it to me, it was a bit late for me to go through it too.
Right. Well, after I sent it to you, I started reading. And I must confess, I am on page 44. Wow. I'm almost done. I was racing to try and finish before I got, on the program at 8 o'clock.
Go ahead.
But I've gotten enough of it. So really, all right. So the constituted authority gets its powers under Section 52A of the Representation of the People Act. And let me just read from what 52A says. And I think this is simple enough for lay people to understand.
Right.
Here, this is 52A. That's and this is subsection 1, so paragraph 1, where after the taking of a poll, the constituted authority or a candidate is of the opinion that during the taking of the poll, circumstances existed which could constitute grounds as specified under Section 37 of the Election Petition Act the constituted authority may, on its own motion or at the request of the candidate, make an application under that section to the election court to have the taking of the poll declared void. All right, it's a mouthful. It's a thick paragraph, but let's break it down a little bit.
Please.
So it's after the taking of the poll. So yes, poll was taken, that was an election day. And where either the constituted authority or the candidate is of the opinion. Now, in this case, the constituted authority did not form that opinion, but the candidate formed the opinion. What is the opinion the candidate formed? Candidate is saying that during the election, there were circumstances that are grounds for voiding the poll. Now, it refers to Section 37 of the Election Petition Act. And Section 37 tells you what are the valid grounds on which a poll can be voided. Let me just read some of them in a summary form.
Go ahead.
Section 37 of the Election Petitions Act says that the constituted authority may apply, subject to Section 38, but let's not confuse it too much, may apply to the election court for voiding the taking of the poll on one or more of the following 5 grounds. So there are 5 grounds, paragraphs A, C, D, E. What are the 5 grounds? I won't read all the words, but just to summarize, paragraph A, if the number of votes cast exceeds the number of electors on the voters list. That's A. B, on one of the following grounds, votes cast exceed the electors. B, that the ballot boxes have been stolen or destroyed. Yeah, there's more words. It's long, but that's the basis of B. Ballot boxes stolen or destroyed. C, that a presiding officer has, under duress, signed ballots. When you cast your ballot on election day, before it's put into the box, the presiding officer has to initiate it.
Yes.
Yes. And so C is that the presiding officer has done that, put their signature there under duress, meaning some kind of force. They weren't willing to do it. D, that votes have been polled by persons who are not bona fide electors, meaning somebody who ain't on the voters list has voted. That's D. And E is that there is an upsurge in violence or any irregularity which would lead to a substantial distortion or subversion of the process of free and fair elections. So I'm here to tell you that having looked at the evidence by persons who worked on election day or persons who went to vote at the polling stations in West Central St. Andrew, it's E that the submissions were made under. Yeah, that there was an upsurge in violence or irregularity that would cause a substantial distortion or subversion of the poll.
All a point from there, Council. For those who are just joining us, we're listening, watching from around the world in the Eastern Caribbean. We're speaking to attorney at law, Stacy Knight. She is one of the lawyers on the Paul Buckhannon versus Andrew Holness case in West Central St. Andrew. Continue for me, Council, because you're breaking this down to us for us to understand it. And I love how you're doing it for me. Go ahead for me.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad that you are understanding. I'm a teacher first, before I became a lawyer, I was a teacher.
You were?
Yes, I still am a teacher. I'm a teacher at heart, definitely.
Oh, I didn't know. I thought Jamaica's eldest statesman just said, you know what, go to law school now.
Not at all, not at all. I tried my best to avoid it. I was following more in his mother's footsteps, who my mother was a teacher.
Oh.
Yes. Her beloved Black River Primary School is now destroyed from the hurricane. I passed it the other day. I couldn't believe. Anyway, back to class.
Yes, indeed.
All right. So we went through A, B, C, D, E, right? And we're saying that one of those 5 grounds, the constituted authority needs to have an opinion that there are some circumstances existing that may lead to one of those 5 grounds. And they have said they don't think so. They don't think so. They didn't agree. So the because I just get this 46-page decision. I don't know the pages right now out of my head, but they did say why. Anyway, basically, one of the arguments put forward by Paul Buckhannon's legal team and through Counsel Hugh Wildman was that the constituted authority doesn't really have a discretion to exercise, and that they ought to submit the matter to the election court once the candidate says so. The court didn't agree. The court didn't agree with that. The court says they have a discretion, and the court found that discretion in some of the words in ROPA, which is where it says that they may, where it says that they, if it's of the opinion, and it talks about they may determine. The court uses those words to say that if you can have an opinion, and if you may do something, you don't must do it, then, and if you can have a determination, it means you have a decision to make. And so the court found that the constituted authority did have the right to act as a gatekeeper, to make a decision and to decide whether to open the gate or not. And they decided that they did not want to open the gate. Now, the evidence. I
wonder why though.
Yeah, so the evidence that was before them, because they did get affidavits, right?
Yeah.
They didn't. No witness came and stood in front of them, but they saw typed words on a page that somebody swore. It's an affidavit, it's sworn testimony. And several witnesses, said that there was intimidation. Witnesses said that there was voter intimidation. They said that some of the witnesses who were workers in the election said that they felt intimidated as workers. They spoke of men in masks who came onto the compound in the evening part before the boxes had been taken to the counting center. So although the poll I think it's after the voting that the men in masks came around, the polls may have been closed, but the election process was not complete because the boxes are still there. And once boxes are still there, all kind of things can happen.
But Counsel,
but they can.
Yeah. Counsel, help me to understand. Although I may have people in my family with some legal background, I'm not a legal, person.
That's right.
Help me to understand this though.
Yes.
If the court get a sworn affidavit stating X, Q, Y, Z, why couldn't they call the witness them at this time? Or is it because it's not in front of the Constitutional Court?
Right. It's not the Constitutional Court. This one would need to go before the election court.
Election court, yes.
Right. And the Judicial Review Court had absolutely no jurisdiction to call any witnesses.
Oh, okay.
No, they don't. They don't.
So all of this now, Counsel, that is the decision has been made and X, Q, Y, Z. What is the way going forward?
So as I've been saying, the matter is not at an end yet, It's not at an end, because the decision that was made today or handed down today, may have been made days ago in the mind of the court, but it was handed down today. That decision is itself subject to appeal. And so a higher court, which would be the Court of Appeal in this instance, can hear arguments against the decision. Yeah. And counsel has already been crafting the grounds of appeal.
Yeah.
I perhaps I shouldn't preempt, but there are some grounds of appeal being drafted and being created for an appeal to be filed. Now, when the appeal is filed, if and when the appeal is filed, it still won't be the end of the matter, because the appellate court, the Court of Appeal, also does not usually call witnesses. The Court of Appeal won't be hearing the witnesses either. No. The Court of Appeal will be called upon to say whether this decision, this 46-page decision, is correct in law or not. And if the Court of Appeal says that this decision is not correct in law, then this decision, it would substitute a new decision. Or it could remit the matter back to the court for to be heard again. Yeah, the Court of Appeal sometimes does that. If the appeal is allowed, and the court says that the Judicial Review Court was wrong, what happens then is that because this was an application for leave for judicial review.
Review, yes.
Permission for judicial review. So if the Court of Appeal says that this decision, 46-page decision, is wrong, then leave is granted for judicial review. So then we would have to go back now before the Judicial Review Court. The Judicial Review Court would hear the matter again, and it may decide the next time that, okay, it will compel the constituted authority to refer the matter to the election court, quash the decision of the constituted authority, and have a new decision. The matter must be mandatory, referred to the election court. Then the election court is the court that can call witnesses.
Okay.
So we have a while. We have a while to go.
How long do we have to go?
So that's the thing. And I have not found any authority that says specifically what timeline is allowed, and if we can really expect that a poll that has been taken months ago could still be voided. I have not done the research on that point, but certainly you can imagine, you can understand, everybody can see that Mr. Andrew Holness was purportedly elected, and has been sworn in. And even if there was irregularities, and even if he ought not to have been elected, the fact is that he has been sworn in and has been acting as the member of parliament for that constituency. And not only that, has been acting as the prime minister of the country.
Right.
Because he's member of parliament. If he was not a member of parliament, he could not be the prime minister. But his party has selected him to be the prime
minister. Yes.
Yes. So you can imagine that if he continues doing acts as a prime minister and as a member of parliament for many, many months, and maybe a year or 2 years, and then we're going to void the poll that happened 2 years ago, that could be a little bit upsetting to
talk to me about that, because talk to me about that, counsel, because you touch on a very vital point there, because a lot of Jamaicans are saying, the court can tell him to go sit down and yard and run back over the election. But you're saying to us tonight is a very tricky thing.
Yeah, we can imagine. Yes, the court may have. I tell you, I have not done the research on what is the limit of time within which that can happen. I don't know. I cannot say what's the limit of time within which it can happen. But clearly, if it happened before he was sworn in, that would have been ideal. If it happened as shortly after he was sworn in, that would have been acceptable. If it happens long after, even if it's the right thing to do, I can appreciate that it would have implications for the stability of governance in our country.
Wow.
It must. If your prime minister is suddenly told that he cannot sit in parliament anymore, you can imagine, Jeffrey, what that would create some pandemonium.
Yes, it would, because
it might be the right pandemonium, because sometimes we need pandemonium. Sometimes you need, that is what an insurrection is. That is what a revolt and a rebellion is. And sometimes when we had the Morant Bay Rebellion, it was necessary.
Yes.
I'm not saying no whether that is necessary. I'm just saying that there are times in life when something of that nature is necessary, a major shakeup. But we have to accept that it would be that major shakeup. And so for a court to make a decision that's going to do that, they're going to think long and hard. They're going to think long and hard.
So in this case then, counsel, is it that the judge or the judges was thinking long and hard pertaining to what you just told us?
Well, they thought 46 pages worth of judgment. So long enough. There's a lot there. There's a lot to chew on, I could read this judgment again and see more that I didn't see in my first reading of it. The court also talks about the adequacy, and I have to touch on this point, the adequacy of an alternative remedy. The court is saying that in judicial review matters specifically whether there is an alternative remedy, some other means by which the litigant could seek a remedy in law. if such an alternative exists, the court is very slow. In fact, the court will not grant permission for judicial review. And in this decision, Justice Winkler has said that she found that there was an alternative remedy. The alternative remedy is what we call an election petition, which is nothing of what I've spoken of so far. It's a different route completely. It does not go through the constituted authority. It goes directly, not to the election court, but to the Supreme Court. Just an election petition straight to the Supreme Court. And she's saying that in section 52A, where the constituted authority was created, because the constituted authority wasn't always there, They existed since, I think, 1997.
Okay.
Yeah, but election petitions existed before that. But the provisions clearly says there's a kind of savings clause that says that this provision is without prejudice to any previous right. And so the right of going directly to the Supreme Court under election petition, the court is saying in this decision that existed. Now, I'm being cautious tonight to not say too much about how I feel about the decision.
Yes, I understand.
I really want people to more understand how the court come to its decision. I may not agree with it, but I read it and I can understand it.
So tell me now, counsel, all of this now, and you're doing an appeal, and the appeal goes through and everything, and you don't get what you're supposed to get. Are you all prepared to go to the Privy Council in London?
I have not discussed that with the legal team nor with the client. That discussion will certainly need to be had at the appropriate time.
But based on all of this counsel that is going on in this country, you see, well, here's a Angola, but there is evidence there that some hanky-panky went on.
Yeah. There is a lot saying that some hanky-panky went on. What they're saying is that it doesn't rise to the level of being a substantial distortion or subversion. Maybe it's a distortion, but not a substantial one.
Can you explain those legal terms so people don't understand those legal terms?
Well, I don't even know if those are really legal terms, just words in the English language, in the English dictionary. A distortion, well, we know what a distortion means, some kind of change.
Yes, that happened, yes.
In the results, yeah. And a subversion, I don't even know what I want to say is a subversion. Let me look at that word for you. But really, if they don't think, even if there was a distortion or subversion, if the court doesn't feel that it was a substantial one, then the court.
I want to go back to something that you said to a counsel. That is driving at my mind at the moment.
Yeah.
You said that if that should hand down, and they said to the PM that you cannot sit anymore as member of parliament, much as prime minister. There will be pandemonium in the streets of our country, Jamaica.
There must be.
Is it that? I know you're not in the minds of the judges, but is it that they were thinking along that line? I know I asked the question before, but they're thinking along that line. Why they come to this decision?
Well, the judgment doesn't say that, but I will read something. I'm going to read a little section here out of the decision. The judgment doesn't say that they were safeguarding, the public from pandemonium in the streets. But all right, in allowing the constituted authority to rest on its decision, the court did not compel the constituted authority to change its decision. This is written at paragraph 105 of the decision. They say the authority, the constituted authority, acts only in the public interest. It serves as a gatekeeper, keeping out complaints that would consume judicial resources while preserving those that fall within the statutory grounds and require a full hearing. Upon a review of the legislative framework, this court can identify several reasons for this. And they have four reasons. Number one, certainty and predictability. They say voters, candidates, agents, and electoral officials must both know and understand the legal and factual grounds for challenging an election result and the timeline for resolving such challenges. You hear that?
Timeline, the keyword timeline.
Timeline. Yeah. Now, the thing is, everything that was to be done by the candidate, Paul Buckhannon, was done within the timeline. He was not late. He was not late. No, he was not. They said the second reason for their saying for this is to limit frivolous disputes. Hear this. Preventing the floodgates of post-election petitions based on trivial administrative or politically motivated complaints.
Wow.
Now, the court has not said that this was such, but I have it marked in red. I use my reading pen here.
That's some keywords there, counsel.
Yes. Because I'm saying, I'm questioning in my mind, is the court saying, or did the court want to say that this was a trivial administrative or a politically motivated complaint? I firmly believe that it was not.
I don't think it was, because it is the fundamental rights of Mr. Buckhannon as a Jamaican citizen who put up himself as a candidate to challenge the election.
Exactly. And the more fundamental right is the fundamental right of the voters.
Exactly.
To elect the person of their choice. And if there was a substantial distortion or subversion in that free and fair election, that ain't frivolous. And it is not trivial. The evidence that I saw in the affidavits that I read didn't look to me like trivial administrative. Nobody's saying that the presiding officer signed with the wrong color ink or something like that. That would be trivial administrative. In fact, the law even says that if the presiding officer forgets to sign a ballot, representation of people's access, the ballot is still valid. That would be trivial administrative. But to say that men in masks, to say that people felt intimidated, to say that within the precincts of the polling station there was loud music being played from trucks and buses and vehicles, loud political music, campaign songs of the Jamaica Labour Party. That doesn't sound to me trivial administrative. But if the court didn't think that it amounted to a substantial distortion, the third reason they say is to protect the finality and legitimacy of elections, to ensure that only defined assertions within the meaning of the statutory grounds can void an election. Electoral certainty is necessary for good administration and the continuity of government. These are words I'm reading from in the judgment.
Yes.
Paragraph 105. And fourthly, respect, they say, for the rule of law. CC. Okay.
Yes.
Respect for the rule of law.
Oh.
Yeah, the authority only, that's it, the constituted authority, only implements the law. It did not create the grounds under the statute. That was the 5 grounds I had read earlier about more votes than voters on the list and stolen boxes. It didn't create those grounds. And the constituted authority is limited to what Parliament said it can do. So these are some of the reasons that the court has produced in its decision to say why they have found as they did. But as I said again, and I say it again, this is not the final decision. Unless the candidate chooses not to go forward. Yeah, and he has a little time to make that decision. But right now, I think an appeal is being crafted.
Let me ask this question as we wrap up. It's now 8:40. We're listening, watching from around the world in the Eastern Caribbean. We're speaking to veteran attorney at law, Stacy Knight. In her own right, she has made her name in her own right. And counsel, you said that it doesn't finish here.
Right.
Based on if the candidate the client want to pursue some more with it.
Yeah.
If the client don't want to pursue it, and a group of Jamaicans from in that constituency decide to come and say, okay, Council Knight and Council Wildman, we want to pursue it. Can something like that happen? Because they have evidence to back up what Mr. Buckhannon has been saying.
Yeah, no, I don't believe that would be possible at this stage.
Understand that? Okay.
No, I don't believe so. I believe that that would have been possible under the Election Petitions Act. Yeah, so not through the constituted authority, the route that goes directly to the Supreme Court on the election petition. I believe that a voter in the constituency could have brought a petition, but the time for that is gone for sure.
It's gone, okay.
The time for that is definitely gone. And can I just point out one thing, that the decision today, I don't even, let's see if your name in there. Yeah, it's not, this is not Paul Buckhannon versus Andrew Holness. No, because it hasn't reached there. This is Paul Buckhannon versus the constituted authority.
Oh.
Yes. Andrew Holness didn't participate in this. He didn't have a lawyer representing him, and he was not there. His name is not on this as a litigant. He's not the applicant, and he's not the respondent.
Oh, so it was Paul Buckhannon versus the court.
Versus the constituted authority, which is not a court. The constituted authority is a special body of 5 persons.
Yes, 5 judges.
Not judges, There are retired judges on it, but they're not all judges. I don't believe they're all judges. No, they're definitely not all judges. Representatives from the ECJ. There are some judges, but they're not all judges. And the constituted authority doesn't always exist. So right now,
when did it exist?
When an election is called, the constituted authority is formed. It's created whenever an election is called. And, yes, and that constituted authority of those 5 persons are named each election. Doesn't have to be the same 5 as the last election. And those people are the constituted authority. They are constituted for the purpose of being an authority just for this. And it is them who made a decision that the matter not going through their gate to the election court. And it is them who Paul Buckhannon challenged in this decision.
Tell me something now, Counsel. I don't know if I'm asking a stupid question.
No questions are stupid.
On what grounds do they come up with this decision then?
They said, they had some words in their decision.
Because Jamaicans
said that it didn't rise to the standard. They didn't think that what was in the affidavits that they read, they didn't think it rose to the standard required to say that circumstances exist which could amount to a substantial distortion. That's basically what they said.
So a group of people who are not really they're retired legal minds, some of them, make a decision of such. And Jamaicans in the diaspora and Jamaicans in Jamaica.
Yeah.
I'm telling you tonight, Counsel, they don't accept it.
A lot of people don't accept it. But I'm accustomed to that as an attorney, honestly. Yes. That's what happen all the time. People don't always accept it. And I mean, we have to show in fact, the decision here does say that there is no complaint against the constituted authority in terms of the composition of them. So, you say a group of retired judges, retired legal minds, as though, they don't have the power and authority. They do. Parliament gave them this power. Parliament gave these 5 people And so it says here, let me just read. It is in the breadth and expansiveness or the combined experience of the members of the authority, its composition drawn from a wide cross-section of the society, and which in this hearing has not been the subject of any complaint, meaning that Paul Buckhannon nor the AG, well, the AG wouldn't. Nobody has said that there's something wrong with the composition of the constituted authority. They said that that person shouldn't have been on it because them, they're biased or anything. No such complaint was made in this instance. And so the court didn't have any cause to go, to deal with the composition of them and to make any complaint or any judgment about the constituted authority. Because we didn't complain about the composition, but about their decision. Yeah. I still don't agree with their decision. I still don't agree with the decision, but it's not the first time as an attorney that I haven't agreed with a judgment that has been delivered.
Yeah.
And, we, as an officer of the court and as an attorney, I am an officer of the court. I'm not going to call our justice system into disrepute because a decision is not in my favor. Yeah.
Well, now I understand what you said, that it never go in front of a court. So I can't come out and say, boy, Jamaica justice system is corrupt because it has not gone in front of the court.
Well, it went before a court. This was a court, man. This is a court decision, This is a court decision.
It's a court decision, yes.
Supreme Court decision.
Yeah, the Supreme Court, yes. But what I meant by saying, well, yeah, you went in front of a court.
Well, what has not gone before the court is the witnesses.
Yes, that's what I meant to say. Yes,
witnesses have not gone before the court. So it's not the credibility of the witnesses that's being, no right. Judgment is made on that. No pronouncement is made on the credibility of any witness because the witnesses have not been before the court. But yeah.
It is something that we have to really sit down and go through. I want to go through that how many page document.
Yes.
Because when you sit and you listen to how you explain it to us, counsel, believe you me, I don't know.
Yeah.
We thought we'd have heard something good today. And Jamaicans are saying, boy, we're too political and whatever. It's not political. Yeah. The evidence are there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I believe so too. I do believe that with all of what we heard, one person voting twice, and it's not just one person, but voters who voted twice. Those allegations are in the affidavits.
I have a friend of mine calling. I know you want to ask you a question. I know we're going to wrap up.
Sure.
Yeah,
man.
Good night, my good friend Byron. How are you doing?
Brother Jeffrey, how are you doing? Pick up you and your audience, and of course your wonderful guest, Sister Comrade Miss Knight.
Yes.
Good night to you, madam.
Good evening, Byron.
Yes, I just called to, put my engagement. I want to ask you a question, my well-learned friend. As it relates to a statutory timeline that I have seen that would have, caused the case to go against Buckhannon. I am asking the question as it relates to, the knowledge of, the persons who are representing Buckhannon, including yourself. As it relates to the statutory timeline, have any of you, was aware that this application was out of the statutory timeline?
But it was not. It was not. Where was it? No. This application was made within the statutory timeline. He met the deadline. Absolutely. There's nowhere that says that he did not. I do see where towards the end of the judgment, the judge is talking about timelines. But I have to go read it again because he met the timeline. Okay, he met the timeline, and I have a note here. I won't say on air the words that I have written in my margin beside paragraph 128 of the judgment, but he met the timeline. They're talking here. The application has to be viewed in context, and the context here is a rigid timetable set out in electoral law. Yes, it's rigid, but he met it. He was within that rigidity. So I'm not sure what's being said here.
Well, based on my comprehension, I think that was one of the basics of the court make that particular determination, and I'm saying, and that is one of the reasons for my for that question.
Yeah, the court is not saying that that's why the decision failed. No, the court is not saying that that's why the application failed. What the court really seems to be saying here, right? Let me try to explain what I don't agree with. But they seem to be saying that, all right, so he was given 14 days. He made his application on the 13th or the 14th day. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
That's within the statutory timeline. If you get 14 days to do something and you do it within the 14 days, you can't be late. The court is now saying that...
Yes, I would agree with that.
Right. The court is saying that in those 13 days, things could have happened. They say it begs the question that in lodging his application 13 days after the poll, it begs the question whether he could realistically have put the authority in a position to meet the statutory timeline for applying to the election court, which was 28 days. The fact is he did, because they did hand down their decision, the constitutional authority, within 28 days. And if their decision then was to go to the election court, they would have been within time as well. So he did act within time, though right at the edge of it, but it was within time.
Byron, I'm sorry, my friend.
Yes.
I'm getting a wrap-up signal from my simulcast in Cayman.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks much.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes. Thank you too. Thank you for your question.
Senator, Councillor, can you just wrap up for me as we go? Your final words.
My final words. I want to say respect for the court. Yes. Respect for the court. I don't agree with the court decision, but respect for the court. And even in respecting the court, that don't mean we're not going to appeal their decision, because that is what the law provides. And when the law provides it, you can't be wrong in doing what the law provides. So we're going to appeal this decision that I don't agree with, though I respect it. And we hope for a better outcome from the Court of Appeal. All right. Good evening to your listeners, everyone.
I want to say thanks to Attorney at Law Lady Stacy Knight, who was in the case between, Buckhannon and Holness, for coming onto the program this evening to speak to us and to outline to us the decision made by the Supreme Court of Jamaica. Thank you so much.
Thank you too. Night.
Good night. I want to say thanks to those who in the Cayman Islands just joined us. Thank you all very much for coming on. Thank you all for being a part of the program. Thanks to Senator Lambert Brown. Michelle Tuller-Neal is unable to come on this evening. She's going to come on tomorrow. I want to say thanks to Lady Stacy Knight, Attorney at Law. And I would say this, the daughter veteran politician and veteran attorney, our good friend, the man who we look up to, Sheriff Katie Knight. Good night to you, Sir Knight. Good night to you, sir. We love and respect the hard work you have done for this country. And we want to say good night to you. This way, we're going to say so long from here for another episode of the Make We Talk program. Until you hear my voice again, I'm Jeffrey Tavares, returning to the studios of Cayman Mall Road. Good night, everybody. May God bless you, and may God bless our island home, Jamaica, land we love. Good night.
The entire diaspora, as long as it affects the life of our nation, uncover the truth, make we reason, make we talk. And we don't care about no vum viva va, no upper echelon. Nobody is not above the law. As long as it not help Jamaica, make we talk. Make we talk. Unity is strength. Make we reason. Make we talk. If we see corruption in any shape or form, we're going to highlight it. Make we talk. Jeffrey Tavares represents Yard and Broad and the entire diaspora. As long as it affects the life of our nation, uncover the truth. Make we reason. Make we talk. And we don't care about no fum for viva va. No upper echelon. Nobody is not above the law. As long as it not help Jamaica. Make we talk.